Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Raw and Score, the only podcast you can beat your friends at. You can't be like, ha, I beat you at the Louis Theroux podcast today. I'm the Quizzard, and while typing out this bunch of episodes, I started to wonder if I will ever run out of questions. It does get slightly harder the longer I go, because obviously I need to try not to repeat questions that I've already written. What am I going to do when I'm at episode 1000? Will there be any questions left in the world? Maybe the quality of question will just steadily decline forever. Maybe that's already happened. You'd tell me if it had, right? When I get my KFC sponsor, I'll be able to hire a team of writers and pay them in chicken anyway. As per usual, we are scoring out of 35 points with 20 questions worth a point each in the question round, a stupidly hard question worth 5 points, a bonus round at the end worth 5 points, and a game throughout the question round which is worth 5 points too. This week, the game is Taboo. In this game, I give you a word or something that you're not allowed to say. You need to bleep it out. Whatever I tell you becomes the worst swear word imaginable. There are kids listening to this. You are not allowed to say it. If you can make it to the end of the question round without saying the thing that I tell you not to say, you get 5 points. This week, I'm feeling a bit mean, so the thing you are not allowed to say is anyone's first name. You can spell them out if you want to. You can bleep it. Just don't say anyone's first name. If you do, you lose the 5 points. And yes, it counts if you're playing with friends and you say their first name, that counts. Alright, so remember not to say any person's first name in the question round, which is starting now. Question 1. What is the capital city of Egypt? Cairo. Question 2. Which family of instruments does a flute belong to? Woodwind. Yes, I know they're usually made out of metal, but it's still a woodwind for some reason. Question 3. The astronomical unit is a unit of measurement based on the average distance between which two bodies? It's the Earth and the Sun. The story of how they tried to determine the astronomical unit is super interesting if any of you are science history nerds. Question 4. Which reptile has the strongest bite force? The saltwater crocodile with well over 3,000 pounds of force. Question 5. What does the word discombobulate mean? Discombobulate. Discombobulate means to confuse, upset, or frustrate. Close enough is good enough there just to avoid anyone getting discombobulated. Question 6. Who painted the Mona Lisa? Beep! Leonardo da Vinci. Question 7. Finish the Backstreet Boys lyric. Am I original? Yeah, am I the only one? Yeah, am I sexual? Yeah, am I... What's next? It is, am I everything you need? You better rock your body now. Very deep and meaningful lyrics, clearly. Question 8. Which Islamic holiday marks the end of Ramadan? Eid al-Fitr, which is another one I'm sure I pronounced wrong. Question 9. Which country has the most billionaires in the world? The USA, no surprises there. Question 10. You're driving a taxi and pick up 3 passengers. One gets out and the rest stay in. How many people in total are in the taxi now? 3, the 2 passengers, and you, the driver. That one was mean, wasn't it? Question 11. What is the name of Fred Flintstone's wife? Wilma! But I hope you spelt that or bleeped it. Remember, first names are taboo. Question 12. With 260 goals, who is the Men's Soccer Premier League all-time top scorer? That is Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer, I hope you bleeped it out or spelt it. Question 13. Ecuador and which other South American country are the only two South American countries not to share a border with Brazil? Chile. Question 14. At the top of the Google Docs document I'm looking at right now, there are 8 drop-down menus that I can select. They are File, Edit, View, Insert, Format, Tools, Extension, and what else? Help, which is probably what a few of you needed with that answer. Question 15. Which element has the chemical symbol Ne? N for Nelly, E for elephant. Neon. Question 16. Ophidiophobia is the irrational fear of which cold-blooded creatures? Ophidiophobia. That is the fear of snakes. Question 17. Which wonder of the world is missing from this list? The Great Pyramid of Giza, the statue of Zeus at Olympia, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Which wonder is missing? The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Question 18. Which One Direction member died in 2024 by falling from a third-floor balcony of a hotel in Buenos Aires? That is Liam Payne. I hope you spelt it too. Question 19. If a recipe calls for a casserole to be slow cooked for exactly 22 hours and I put it in the oven at 3 p.m, what time will I take it out the next day? Realistically, I'd probably forget about it, but the answer is 1 p.m. And question 20, how many people appear in the painting American Gothic? Two people and 1 pitchfork. Alright, that's the question round done. Remember, if you made it to the end without saying anyone's first name, you give yourself 5 points. I had it written down on each question not to say the first names, and I still forgot a couple times, so really well done if you got those 5 points. Coming up, we have the unbelievably stupidly hard trivia question and the bonus round of the episode. This week, the bonus round is going to be Spelling Bee. See you in a second for that. We're back, and it's time for the trivia question that doesn't even put its trolley away when it's done with it. The really hard trivia question. Alright, I've got a really hard question for you. You get 5 points if you can get it right. Here it is. The year is 2005. The date is April the 2nd. The radio comes on and plays the #1 song currently on the Billboard music charts for that day. Which song is it that plays? So basically what I'm asking is, what was the #1 song on April 2nd, 2005? I was 13 in 2005, so I'm sure my top song was something really embarrassing. But what was the world's top song? Okay, lock in your answer. The Billboard #1 song on April the 2nd in 2005 was Candy Shop by 50 Cent. And just to make you feel really old, that is 20 years ago. That's wild. 5 points if you got that one right, and moving straight along, we have our bonus round for the episode. This week, it is Spelling Bee. In this round, I'm going to give you 5 spelling words. None of them are particularly easy. You get a point for every one you spell correctly. All right, Spelling Bee starting now. Word number 1 is necessary, as in, it is probably not necessary for me to do a sentence for each word, but I have to give myself something to do while you're spelling. Necessary. Necessary is Necessary. Word number 2 is nauseous, as in, I didn't go to work today because I told them I felt nauseous. I wasn't nauseous, but they don't need to know that. Nauseous. That one is Nauseous. Word 3 is paradigm, as in, oh, hello, Mr. Quizzard. You are the paradigm of the ideal man, and I love your podcast. May I treat you to an expensive dinner? Paradigm. Paradigm is Paradigm. That's sneaky G. Word number 4 is pharaoh, as in, if I were the pharaoh of Egypt, I probably wouldn't be able to make a podcast because I would be too busy doing pharaoh things, and also electricity and podcasts weren't invented yet. Pharaoh. Pharaoh is spelt Pharaoh. Word number 5, I always end on a hard one, is maneuver, as in, I had to expertly maneuver my car through the KFC drive-thru if I was going to avoid dying of starvation. Maneuver. Maneuver is Maneuevre. What a hellish spelling word. Okay, tally up your scores, and that's it for this episode. Don't forget, send me your score and your name, and I'll give you a shout out at the end of a show. This week I've heard from Troy and Tam, who scored 19, Laura scored 17, Rick scored 13, but he sent it with a sick picture of a dragon, so he's the real winner. Tarawood Propagators scored 23, Steph scored 20, and spoiler alert for the last ep if you haven't listened to it, she told me that Y is a vowel in the words rhythm and links and all that, so technically the thematic threes answer should have been all of these words use Y as their vowel, and not all of these words have no vowels. Sorry about that to any grammar Nazis out there, you can give yourself the 5 points if that's what you said. Foss and Christie reported that they scored a 1, and then they realised that they made a typo and actually scored a 17, and Michaela and Emma scored a 17 and a 20 on a road trip. Thanks so much for your scores, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on Monday with another episode. Bye-bye.